These techniques fall into two broad categories: incremental approaches and re-engineering restructuring approaches. Please listen to the following story that illustrates the differences between these approaches. Once upon a time, there were 3 villages. These villages depended heavily on the trade from across the valley for their prosperity. The bridge across this valley needed repair. The chief from the first village told his workers, "Go forth and work. Do whatever is necessary." He dumped a huge assortment of tools in front of them, then quickly left. The villagers established a frenzied pace, for this chief abused his workers who did not follow his commands. The first chief boasted to the 2 other leaders about the speed of his construction. Unfortunately, because no one coordinated these workers' efforts, the bridge was a haphazard collection of nails and boards. It soon collapsed under the usual wear and tear. Needless to say, the villagers were unhappy with their chief and soon disposed of him. The second chief was watching this mess and decided to learn from the first chief's mistakes. She organized her workers into teams and gave them a plan to repair the existing bridge. At first, these workers had success and rebuilt the bridge straight as an arrow far across the chasm. She boasted to the 2 other chiefs about the accomplishments of her workers. Unfortunately, the bridge could only be repaired so far. During the next heavy storm, the bridge collapsed, for the chief did not know how to build structural supports. Her workers became discouraged and abandoned their efforts. The third chief was watching their efforts and decided to learn from the other chief's mistakes. He sent his workers to the other villages to learn what they had done and what they hadn't done. His workers then developed a plan. In their first step, they did not build a bridge at all, but focused on something entirely new: the airplane. This was an entirely new solution to their transportation problem. Many organizations are like the first village in implementing total quality management. They start with vague directives with little clarity on what to do. Their successes are sporadic and likely to fail. This is what I call the go forth and do anything incremental approach. One of the organizations I consulted with started on this path. Senior management proclaimed in a memo that total quality should be a way of life. One senior vice president declared that he wanted 25% of his organization using total quality tools within a year. This caused tremendous excitement in the organization. However, the follow-through was delayed, occasionally inappropriate, and sometimes not there. Many employees became discouraged with the process and considered it just another management fad. With the next business downturn, virtually all training had stopped and little enthusiasm was left. Other organizations are like the second village and clearly focus on technical problems and on improving what they have. They're initially successful, but become victims of their own success. I call this an improved incremental approach. Their initial quality improvement teams may be so successful, they rapidly create more teams without the qualitative, organization-wide changes, such as reengineering, necessary to sustain a permanent effort. One organization we work with had over 70 quality improvement teams in a plant with only 300 employees. They had shown few results after their first successes and asked us what their next step should be. We suggested bringing in the union's leadership into their effort, restructure their organization to more product-focused lines, and possibly start profit sharing. They were not interested in taking any of these actions. A few months later, its parent company shut down the site, partly because of poor productivity. Another organization we work with assembled an improvement team to increase the quality of one product. This 12-person team had great difficulty accomplishing its function. We found they had been given an impossible task. They had made some progress in reducing product defects, but were severely hampered by little authority to do anything. We recommended that either, one, they eliminate the team, thereby reducing the frustrations their employees felt, or two, restructure the organization so management could focus on this particular product. Management was unwilling to make any substantive change, so they disbanded the team. Product quality again deteriorated. A different organization had a more positive response with the incremental approach. We trained an internal facilitator, helped them deliver training in a just-in-time fashion, and had them focus on specific technical problems. The team's management formed reduced initial quality by 48%. Returning to the story, the third village illustrates the reengineering approach. Not content with merely improving what they had, they created a new solution to their problem. The third village did not build a bridge at all, but an airplane. This solution would meet their needs, but had little to do with the existing way of traveling across the valley. Examples of organizations using these methods include Hallmark Card, Ford, and IBM Credit. To summarize, some organizations implement TQM like the first village, in that management mostly talks about quality, there is little action but much paper, and their training is poorly focused. They often provide massive training and quality tools, but without follow-through or implementation. Organizations that implement TQM like the second village define their technical problems, focus their training efforts, and provide management support and involvement. The advantages to this approach include a focus on action, it can be started quickly, and can be initiated by those with less authority. The disadvantages of such an incremental approach include avoiding structural, system-wide problems, and assuming that existing processes need modest improvement. In addition, using incremental approaches can be frustrating to employees and management if TQM does not catch on in the organization. As a result of these disadvantages, many organizations experience a high risk of failure in the long run. Other organizations, like the third village, use reengineering to make a quantum leap in their productivity, customer satisfaction, and profitability. They decide who their customers are and what lines of business they should be in. They redesign from scratch their fundamental business processes. They are not repairing a bridge, but are creating a whole new way of getting there. Organizations using restructuring may also use team building to create a more tightly focused management team, or to change the organizational structure, compensation system, performance appraisal, information system, or even their management style.